Hi everyone, if you are watching this video, you're probably interested in buying a printer for yourself for some form of an art project. Perhaps you are selling your prints at conventions, or if you're like me, I wanted to print my trading cards on thicker paper. I wanted it to have nice bold color. I didn't want to be worried about the price of ink so much, and I wanted to keep all my stuff as cheap as possible. So in today's video, I want to talk to you about the printer that I just recently got. I want to talk about the good things, the bad things, and I also want to say that I am not associated with this printer brand at all. I'm not getting paid a cent for this, not getting paid any YouTube money, anything like that, any affiliate money. This is all just because I want to share some information that I couldn't find when I was trying to buy a printer. This is the Canon Pixma Tank printer. It is the G3270. I bought it on sale for 199 Canadian. So I've heard that in the States they go on sale relatively regularly for around 150 US. Let's start off with the actual build of the Canon printer. What's nice about this printer is that when you print anything on any printer, there's always a cleaning process that happens every once in a while, and it takes like a little bit of the ink off of like the printer heads, I believe. And then what happens is it discards it into this tray. It's like a sponge. And then once that sponge gets totally full in the back here, then your printer potentially is worthless. Like the Epson tank or Eco tanks, they do not have a replacement for most of them, at least from what I've read. The cheap ones do not have a replacement sponge tray portion, whereas this Canon does. So if it gets full, you can buy the part, which is probably, I don't know, not too much, replace it and you're good to go. Can't see them now, but there are printer heads in here as well. And what's nice about this printer is you can replace the printer heads if they get gunked up, which I read you cannot do in a lot of other printers. Those are the two good things about this build quality situation. The little LCD screen here, I've heard is a common place for complaint because it's so small and it's super vintage looking, but it does everything that it needs to. It's the Mega Tank, which obviously is much more cost effective. And what I like about this printer, being that it's relatively affordable, 200 bucks Canadian, you can buy the cheap ink afterwards, which is what I'm going to try to do to keep your costs down. And it costs right around $22 from what I've seen on Amazon to buy the replacement ink. And if something happens to it, again, it's only 200 bucks, not a big deal. If you buy that 8550 printer and it gunks up and whatever else and you're out a number of thousands of dollars, then it's a big problem. One thing I'm not too keen on for this printer is that it uses a black ink over here, which is the Pigma based black. And the reason they use Pigma based is because it keeps the text really sharp. And then over here we've got dye based color, which keeps the colors very vibrant, especially for photo printing. And that's great. The colors are quite nice, and I'm going to demonstrate that shortly. But I find that when you're doing I'm printing on thicker paper, the black just isn't super rich. It's very dark and rich when you're printing on glossy photo paper. Your photos look almost like they're from, Walmart or whatever you buy or wherever you get them developed. But when you're printing on regular, like a big color page, the black is just not super saturated. What I liked about this printer is this one is the back feed paper in here. So some of them will have a tray, some printers will have a tray, and you put your paper in there. But if you are printing thicker paper, then what happens is that paper that's in the tray goes up and around, right? So it bends quite a round bend in order to come back out again. And then that's where paper jams happen. So you want to be looking for a back-fed paper tray so that the paper is just bending a little bit to come out. And that way you can print thicker paper. From what I've read and what AI says online, you can only feed like thicker paper one at a time in the back, but I have tried thicker paper and put a number of the sheets in the back there and it didn't jam up. It worked just fine, and I'll show you the thicknesses that I've used. Okay, I'm gonna save the negatives for the end. So if you've been following my Instagram, you'll know that I have been working on creating my very own card game. And I've been experimenting with thicker paper that I could fold in order to create a box. And then also obviously the color so that I can make it nice and bright and vibrant, and then different sizes. So, and the thicknesses of the paper. So I wanted the cards to feel as smooth as possible, because I know with playing cards, everything else has that glossy printing, like coating on it, so all the cards slide nicely. It's just, what I found is just impossible to replicate that feeling by printing directly on the paper. You have to either spray it afterwards or you put them in sleeves or whatever else. But the closest thing that I did find is this Hammer Mill Premium Color Copy Cover. It's called a Copy Cover. And it is an 80-pound paper that is 216 GSM. It's pretty cheap. It was like $22 Canadian, something like that, for 250 sheets. And this paper is very shiny. So here's just a regular piece of printer paper, right? There's no thickness, no rigidity to it, and it's very matte. So this is the 80-pound paper. It still bends quite a bit. And at first I didn't think I'd be able to use it for the cards, but let's see if I can demonstrate the smoothness of it with some of this light. My lighting is not great and my camera's old, so I apologize. Like it's satiny and it's smooth, but once you do print on it, it isn't quite as smooth. But let me show you my cards that I've printed. I find that I'm doing a small deck, and because it's small, the thickness, the 80-pound thickness is okay. So you can see it's got a good pop back to it. It's still smooth, especially if you keep it white because there's no ink on it. It's still nice and smooth for the most part. The other side's a little rougher, but it's still okay. You can shuffle them. Well, not very easily on your knee. They hold their shape quite well. It's a great thickness and paper for prototypes especially. And I've been using this a number of times. We played my card game probably 20 times. And the cards are still holding up quite nicely. Like you don't really even notice it. If you get water on them, it will smudge and stuff. So that's why you need that glossy cover if you can afford to get them done properly, you know, by a big company. So for what I use for the box is this Accent Opaque Digital. It was 100-pound, 271 GSM paper. This one's a little more expensive, but still not much, like $24 for 200 sheets, I think. And this paper is very thick. And from what I read online, it is equivalent to like 14-point paper. So it's what you're going to see with a lot of cards. Here is just a random like 90s, here's a Shadowhawk card. Okay, obviously this is smaller, so it's not going to bend. But just look at the rigidity here. It's probably the same. It's about the same as these 90s cards. And that's good, especially when I folded it up, then it looked nice and neat in the box, and the box held together strongly. So I have not printed multiples in the back here of this super thick one. I've only done one at a time. And that worked fine, no paper jams at all with this thick 100-pound 271 GSM paper, so it was fine. I have printed on the 80-pound one. I put a number of sheets in the back and they've come out together, and then you can flip them and you can, so I've tried I think up to I put 5 in there of the 80-pound and they came out okay. So when it says just do it one at a time, this printer can handle more. So if you are a photo printer, you want to print photos for yourself, and you might think to yourself, well, I'll use that smooth, thicker paper. That's what I thought originally, and it works. Here's a picture of my wife and I on the Carnival cruise we just recently went on. But the picture quality is muted. The blacks don't look very good. It definitely looks like it's been printed on a piece of paper. It does not look super photo quality. So I was a little disappointed with these, but they were still okay, just for like around the house if you wanted just a couple of funny little keepsakes. Then I ended up buying some, actually from the thrift store for $2. Some of this Fujifilm premium photo paper. It is 190 GSM. 151-pound paper. And this makes beautiful prints that are rival like anything you get developed at the store. And the reason why these are better is because they're glossy. And when you select glossy and you print it from the computer, I believe the ink doesn't have to go in as far, it stays more on the surface, and then that way the blacks look great and all the colors are super vibrant. This is the box again, which is the 100-pound 271 GSM, so the thickest paper I have. Just take a look at the blacks. See how the black is kind of, it's almost like a muted, almost a bit of a gray. It's not like a bright, thick, bold black color or anything. There it is there again on the top. It's it's kind of mute and faded, and it doesn't look super professional. So the thicker paper, you know, the colors still look nice. The colors still look pretty bold and strong on it, but the blacks are the problem. Still usable. Okay, while I set up the printer to do the photos, let me just tell you the negatives of this printer. Number one, it's completely false in terms of when it says 7,700 pages. It's false marketing. That is based on 5 to 15% coverage. So on your page, if you have your page of paper and you print something with a little bit of color on the bottom, maybe a border or whatever else, that would be considered maybe 5%, just a little bit, and then you'll get 7,700 pages. But if you're printing full pages of color, you are not getting that. So basically 5% of 7,700 is 385. So you'll be getting approximately 385 full pages of color at 5%. If it ranges up to 15%, you'll get up to 1,155 pages. So if you're not printing, say, full pages, maybe you're printing 80%, then you'll still get, you know, let's just bank on 1,000 pages. It's still great. It's still great. I'm not complaining, but it's a little bit, you know, misrepresenting when they say you'll get 7,700 pages of color. It's not true. The black is not overly vibrant on thick paper. I've said that. The other downside with these mega tanks is because it's that liquid that you put in, you have to print one color page, approximately every 7 to 10 days in order for it to not dry out on the top, on the little printer heads. Also, they say this print speed is like 7 pages of color per minute. That's at 5%, not full. It's not anywhere near that. It's more like 1 page per minute or something like that. I'm gonna show you here. So let's get started. So let's watch now how long this takes. This is real time. I won't stop it. I'll just keep blabbing away here. So as you can see before, I was doing sketch cards, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted this printer, because I want to be able to print thick paper. I want ink on both sides, so I just print one out one side, flip it over, print on the other side. We'll keep that going. I'll show you again these are the sketch cards. I printed all of them these are the ones I submitted to RR Parks, and I printed them on the thickest paper. So you can see the color. Turned out quite nice on this, just the blacks are not quite as dark as when I actually did them. And these are my most recent cards that you may have seen on my YouTube channel. Still quite nice, and I like that I printed them on this thick paper, so they almost look like they're the originals, but they are not. I've sent the originals back to RR Parks so they can be submitted into the packs. Other things that I liked about this is that it has the scanner, and it's nice for me because then you can place all for example, my cards on top, all in the order you want to. You can press print, and it will literally print that. It'll scan it quickly and print it out for you in one motion. So that's nice to have. Otherwise, you know, printer now or a scanner nowadays is not overly useful, I find, unless you specifically need it. But for art projects, it's nice to have. In order to adjust the printer or the page style or the type of paper that you're putting in here, you're literally it'll come up at first and you won't know you'll be like, why can't I change anything? You have to put the paper in the back, and there's like a little register in the back. It goes, once you put the paper in, it'll pop up right on the screen, and you'll be able to see what paper to select. So it'll say, oh, is this glossy paper? And maybe you've changed it. It's not glossy anymore. You change it to legal cardstock, or you know, whatever it is. If it doesn't show up, you put the paper in the back first, and then it seems to register. Well, as we can see, it's taking quite a while here. And I'm sure the number of prints also depends on the quality of color you're using. You know, like if you're doing best, it'll probably use more. What else can I tell you about this thing? They tried to sell me the extended warranty, which of course I did not buy because it's 200 bucks. And if it breaks in a couple years, I'll buy a new one. And by then, maybe the technology will be even better. So it was $199 Canadian plus tax, plus there was the dispensing fee or disposal fee. So it came to all in like $234, I think. Okay, there it is, printed out. Now let's check the paper or how it looks. Pretty nice. These were also taken on my phone, so they're not the greatest quality image to begin with. So I believe that's everything I wanted to cover in a very wordy video. I apologize. If you have any questions about the printer, please ask me. I will try my best to respond if I know the answers. It is definitely a good starter printer rather than investing big bucks into something that you may not need. Be great for certain trading cards, proxy cards, all sorts of things. So I highly recommend this printer. Again, not sponsored in any possible way. I just hope you guys can find this useful. Please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and check out my Instagram account for my artwork. See you in the next one.